The silent treatment. Silent treatment is a kind of mind game in which silence is used to manipulate events or manipulate outcome. So this is a kind of a manipulation tactic, a manipulation strategy used in interpersonal relationships. You can say it be used by humans to influence outcomes. So in short, silence is used for outcomes. Those outcomes can be good or bad. And if manipulation is there, so you can say they are always about negative outcomes. Because if outcomes need to be positive, things can be convinced. And it has happened since centuries that if your intentions are good, you can put forward your thing, you can put your arguments in a better way, you can convince people, you can persuade people. But if your intentions are wrong and if your outcome you are desiring has some negative um, covering, negative seasoning with it, then you resort to manipulation. And these mind games, I'm going to tell you that these mind games, these manipulation tactics, these are going to be next epidemic, next pandemic, and the world. Even I can feel the world is going through some, mental health bubble. People are really fucked up now. Mental health bubble, mental bubble. So people are really in that, fucking epidemic proportions. It's just because some reputation or some social status kind of thing or some occupational thing, people hide these things because they are um, some negativity or some stereotype that are associated with being in a mental crisis kind of thing. But as you can as you have seen in a lot of events in the past few decades, if things are shut, if things are, you know kept to themselves, kept hidden, sometimes sooner or later they are going to, explode. Just like this COVID-19 pandemic. And I at the time, uh, I was writing about some genetic issues, and then uh, I was into this thing. I was reading paper daily, and it was in August 2019 that first case of this thing came into India, and in the state of Kerala. And I was monitoring this thing, and when I searched a little further, I found that the Chinese authorities, that they try to hide this thing for a long time. This Wuhan thing. So they try to hide this for their own good, for some political reasons, for some trade reasons. You know, we put stereotypes so easily that even some powerful governments, they are scared more about stereotypes than this virus. So there was only one case in August 2019, and by uh, I could say by July 2020 there were 20 million cases. So you can guess it. In less than 1 year, the cases exploded 20 million times. And that's that's going to be the state of this mental health crisis. People are just putting lot of stereotypes about, not, it's like, it's not some mating strategy, this mental health thing. And these cases, the mental issues, these are real, because right now we have so many stressful things. Second, we have been educated. Education has gained a lot of proportions, and they are resource crunch. The people who mock, the people who try to stereotype things. So their time, the 90s, 70s, or 90s, 1980s, those were prosperous times. Mostly most countries were uh, were independent from colonial rules. Money was coming in. The newly founded institutions, the Bretton Woods institution, World Bank, IMF, they were providing generously. So and there was wave of socialism and democracy together, and moreover the population was low, and this factor will be counted here. Population has gone up by a heavy margin, and now we are so close to each other, we can face each other's breath. It means we have come really closer in things. Eh, It's not just about intimacy, it's about work proportions as well. The people of 1970s and 80s, at the time, anyone who was just a literate person, or just someone who have crossed 12 standard, could become a good bureaucrat. So, so that was the state of things then. A person of 12 standard, a person who's barely literate or barely educated, not even graduate, could become a bureaucrat or a diplomat, could run country. And in just these 3 decades, things have changed so much that the changes that are not being accepted, there's a constant friction between what is old, what they have seen, and what is materializing before their eyes. So this constant friction, this also put pressure on people. Now the coming closer thing, first intimacy, and second work. At that time, people were not working that much. Mostly agrarian in all the countries. Like I would say in 1970s, those all young countries, they were when democracy was in infancy, and the major occupation were agriculture and allied activity, mining, construction, and some manufacturing. So the work scenario uh, was not as prominent, and the connection, you not just connection, you could say encounters between people. So at the time there were no such encounters and no pressures. Now the intimacy between interpersonal relationship has gone up. The work encounters, those have gone up. So these things, these are creating stresses, and this resource crunch. Because of that resource crunch, there is inequality. Because of inequality, many people are unemployed. Many people deserve better things, but they are just doing with petty jobs. And in this whole scenario, when things are not being studied properly, I would say things are not seen the way they are. Just uh, let me give you an example. In 1970s, so a graduate, I would say, for the sake of respect for all those founding member of present society, I would say those who graduated could become whatever they want, could run country easily. So graduation was something kind and an achievement most people would look up to, but most people would not bother about it because population was low, resources were abundant. People would not care about going this way, going the other way. People would not care about being a bureaucrat or diplomat or any other manufacturing or service or technology oriented jobs because the farms, everyone, every layman owned around the some 1,000 acres of farm. So and there was cheap labor, 1,000 acres of farm and cheap labor. The desires of people were low. Desires were low because manufacturing and services were low. If you do not have things around you that you can buy, and you do not have the avenue, most people in 1970s did not know that there is some countries like Scandinavian countries or Norway or Australia. A lot of people, I would say majority, even 70 to 75% people did not know that there are countries beyond Pakistan, Sri Lanka, China, and now things have changed in such a drastic way because even in my I'm in my 30s, I have seen the changes from bottom up. So the changes were so drastic, and now these changes are not being accepted. Things are not seen the way they are, and that's creating a lot of stress on young people, a lot of stress on the middle-aged one. And I don't know what the stress is, but there is stress. And amid this stress, some people have found a way, some people found a way to what? A way to exploit. Some people have learned this game of silent pandemic. Because when you come together, when you come closer to people, when the proximity or intimacy increases, and when you see people around you, when you realize that your expressions, your message, your body language, it influences people. When it happens, and if you are someone, some motherfucker with wrong intentions, the people you are facing, they would not know it. Nobody, nobody can peek into your mind. That's the thing. That's why this whole mental health thing is because if people could see the minds of those who are going into this crisis, if they could just dot it out and bring it out or chart it out, things would have been easier. But let's come to it. The motherfucker, some people with wrong intentions, and they know how their actions or their words that influence people, and they try to take advantage of it, try to take they try to misuse this thing, misuse its power, the power of influence. This magnetism and charisma, it's inherent in us. It's inherent in a lot of people, but if you use it for right thing, this magnetism and charisma that could bring revolutionary results. Just like I would talk about a few personalities: Gandhi, um, who was the president of America, Lincoln, Martin Luther King Jr., Martin Luther, Teresa. So these are example I know of, and there are many, but I cannot quote all the examples. You have heard about all of them: Gandhi, Lincoln, Martin Luther, Teresa, Nelson Mandela, and these people have used their magnetism, their charisma, this the same power to influence. They use their power in a better way, and that brought about some revolutionary results that we see now. But some people, when they use this power, when you misuse this power in a negative way, it is called manipulation. And one form of manipulation is silent treatment. Silent treatment, when the other person, the someone who you listen to, someone closer, because silent treatment can work only if the someone who is meeting out this treatment, who is manipulating you, is someone closer. It's someone who you trust. Otherwise, this power cannot work. It's kind of some Wi-Fi range kind of thing. But manipulation and this treatment or this misuse of power can be done only by the people who you trust. So someone closer who, in order to manipulate things or bring out some fucking negative outcomes, they try to, they become silent. Whenever things come, they become silent. And they stretch this silence for a long time. And you would be worrying, you would be wondering what it is about. And in that time, when things are being stretched, when the silence is being stretched for a long time, maybe for weeks at length, and all that time, your your mind, your emotions, your self-esteem, it is constantly under danger. One thing that this silent treatment affect in a negative way is self-esteem of people, especially those with low self-esteem. And it happens. Why the fuck do we care about whether someone has low or high self-esteem? We are not in some mobile game, in not some counteract forces. If you talk about military service, I can I can say yes. Uh, Moderate or good self-esteem is needed in armed forces, in bureaucracy, in governments, in leadership. But if you are some farmer, or if you are someone who wants to live a common life, a simple life, why would that matter anyway? You are living hand to mouth, or you are living in your own world. You are living in your simple world, and it's your naivety and innocence. And I really admire these people who live in their simple world, who are naive and innocent, and just because of their naivety and their innocence, I I see world in a different way. I see the world in a different light, not just different, but a positive light. Because these people, their simplicity, their carelessness, their joyous nature, their innocent smile, their innocent faces, the, these bring relief in this lunatic world, because everything else is just some you know stressed, monotonous faces, or you can say these masked faces. There is nothing there to nothing there to see, and nothing there to admire. But in these people, they bring relief because of their carefree nature. And it's these people, these simple and innocent people, who are receiving end of the silent treatment. Because these people who put their trust in someone, and that someone that resort to this silent tactic to either submit you, um, sorry, either bring about your submission, to break you, to discourage you, to enslave you, to make you things that you would not otherwise do. I would say unintentional actions. Silent treatment is used for these actions. And one thing that characterizes silent treatment is the other party is silent, and you would feel a constant nudge, a constant pressure on your self-esteem. You would wonder about reasons why this happened, why that person suddenly got silent, suddenly became silent, why that person has gone, why is he or she doing this, or why they are doing this. I would say they, because even in the corporate, but I would not disrepute corporate, I would say employment. So wherever you work, your co-workers, your staff, your seniors or juniors, they might resort to this tactic, and this tactic has become so you know effervescent or so ubiquitous that every layman, every Tom, Dick, and Harry is using it. Just like it, this tactics, this strategy has got some um, you know unparalleled license, and anybody can use this strategy to make things divert in certain way. But ultimately, however it let you feel, it's very dangerous. I would say the most dangerous of all, because it breaks relationships. It it makes a permanent dent in everything. I I would not say it would make permanent dents in relationships, or your working efficiency, or in your employment, your work culture, in the ethicality or in morality of people. It makes a dent in everything. Even the victim is a permanent receptor. Permanent receptor. By permanent receptor, I mean that that trust is broken completely, and that trust would never come back, because the silent treatment, the inherent danger in it is that things are not conveyed, things are not communicated, and things are not communicated even after the the person, the one at the receiving end, learns that something is being done to him or her, and they back off, or they give up, or they leave the relations. But the things which are not communicated or not conveyed, they leave some lasting impressions, and that thing never comes back. And even if the one who is meeting out this treatment, either female, spouse, family, friend, brother, sister, co-worker, manager, senior, boss, whoever it is who is meeting out, or the the assaulter, whoever is doing this thing, that person may get an upper hand, or may get an advantage for short time, some immediate term. But in the long term, it's a two-way sword. First thing, the victim is lost. Sooner or later, the victim is lost. And the other thing, even the the assaulter, because all the time when the silent treatment is being meted out, when the silent treatment is being run all the time, I would say, like for 15 days, there were no communication. They were complete silent. Some eerie, uh, frightening silence between two people. So all the time, victim may be victim, the one at the receiving end. So he or she may be more damaged, both morally, physically, psychologically. But the assaulter, he is not spared either. It it makes a big dent in his own psyche, his or her own personality, because it happens that the one who is doing this, the assaulter, they would go to all lengths to bring about the likely outcomes, but it doesn't happen that way. uh, Initially, when the silent treatment came into fashion, so people were so gullible then, so they could be misused. But now people are mentally tough. People are really, I would say, mental giants now. So they cannot be easily manipulated. And if someone is still meeting out this treatment because this is in fashion, so if they are still doing this, if they're still resorting to this tactic, they would go to all the lengths. So even in those 15 or 20 days of silence, they also suffer. And when they suffer, whoever is in their proximity, they suffer. So it takes some toll in their own personality, in their own confidence. So it's a lose-lose game. Nobody wins in this thing. Everybody loses, and it's very damaging, destructive game, I would say, destructive manipulative tactic, because the victim is totally gone, mentally, physically, psychologically, in all aspects of life. Mostly are gone. Very few make that comeback. And second, it create a big dent in cooperative ability of people. We have survived all these disasters and calamities just because of cooperation. But if now the trust issue is being, called into action, or is being questioned, everything is being questioned. Even parents are questioning their children, kids are questioning their parents, and the trust issue, it is going to take a wrong turn. And finally, the time during which the silent treatment is being meted out, it has become a mental health issue now. And first thing I would urge whoever meeting out this treatment, if you are on the receiving end, if you are a victim, first just fucking leave those people now at that very moment. Don't even look for reasons. If somebody has become silent for some time and their silence is creating some self-esteem or self-confidence thing in you, some emotional disturbance in you, I would say just fucking leave this thing. Don't try to look for reasons. That's the main purpose of this silent treatment, is that you try to look for reasons, you question your own self-esteem, you look down upon yourself, and then you can be enslaved in a metaphorical way, that you can be controlled or easily manipulated. But I would say don't let anybody and just come out of it. Thank you very much.